Welcome, listeners, to Oxford Hornets podcast. On today's agenda, we will be talking about careers and learn about a restaurant owner and the culinary arts. We will be joined by and restaurant owner Michael Joseph Palanti. So, Michael, um, talk to me how about when you were younger, you had uh, archaeology classes in university, and then you switched to culinary. And I wanted to know how it was that switch. Do you wish you stayed with archaeology, or do you think cooking was the right choice for you?
I wouldn't really call it a switch because I completed degrees in both cultural anthropology and in culinary arts. So, food is culture, and if you want to learn about people, the first thing you do is learn what they're eating and where it comes from and how they distribute it and how all these things function in the society. So, I would call it a combination of two things. And it's true that I was a cook while I was in college going for cultural anthropology, which includes archaeology, and that I didn't want to be a full time chef. But my very good friend started culinary school, and he's very persistent. He convinced me to go with him and to do it, and I'm really thankful for that because cooking is something that's always made me feel good, and because I bring a certain moment of something very personal into people's lives, and they have a time to bond together and get to know each other.
Nice. And the degree that you have for culinary arts, do you think it helped you with what you're doing, like currently right now? And is there any things you wish that they might have taught you, or that you think they taught you that wasn't really too important with your current job?
Right. The school was great. You can't complain about that. It was a really intensive curriculum, and we had a lot of experience cooking, a lot of days cooking, and a lot of days studying as well. Has it helped me in my job? It helps me in my job all the time. Uh, I couldn't have gotten some high level positions in the United States if I didn't have a degree in cooking. Do you need it to be a good chef? Do you need a cooking degree from a culinary school, which can be quite expensive, as mine was? It's not necessary, but it shows the level of professionalism and qualifies you for higher level jobs and instills in you the fundamentals, which in cooking, if you don't know the fundamentals backwards and forwards, then you're lost.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's been a big help.
All right. And with what you chose when you were younger, and the path that you chose to go, do you think if now you could change it, would you, or would you have like kept the path that you have the same?
It's a good question, but it doesn't really apply to me because I didn't really choose my path. The path chose me. I didn't really have a option in my mind. I wasn't like I just sat there and decided what I wanted to do. I just decided to do whatever I felt most passionate about. And then I'm one of the few lucky people out in the world that have had and have a career that they live and breathe and enjoy. And uh, a lot of people go to work and they can't wait to leave, but my work never ends. And one day when I retire from one thing, I will start another. So there's no end in sight.
Nice. So,
Yeah.
moving on from when you got your degree and when you started to work, um, how was that like? Did you feel nervous, or did you feel prepared to start working with your now degree?
Well, I graduated with already having a lot of experience working in restaurants. I went to cooking school after I've had some years of experience cooking in restaurants. And I would say that the things I was more nervous about upon leaving culinary school and starting a job was that, well, when you leave culinary school, I owed a lot of money for uh, student loans, and cooks don't earn the great amount of money, especially when they're first starting out. And I also worked for Disney. So Disney is notorious for not paying well. So what I would have been nervous about was paying my bills. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So, uh, after you have been working in the U.S. and have moved from, I'm pretty sure it was around Pennsylvania and Kansas City, right?
Yes.
And then you moved to the to Spain. Was the difference like immense, or could you handle the difference when you first moved?
Oh, it was challenging. When I first arrived, I took a little time off to get acclimated, and then when I wanted to find a job, I did find a job as I think I could anywhere, but I got a job as a chef in a hotel, 5-star hotel, but the pay was like the salary was much lower than what we earned in the United States and lower than I was accustomed to. And then I had very little respect from some of the Spanish chefs because they think that's because I'm American that I only know how to cook a hamburger. But so that was a bit challenging and getting used to the way people look at you and when you're the outsider.
Yeah.
Like, what made you choose Spain?
When I met my wife, she was living and working in Alicante, Spain, and I was in Kansas City, Missouri, as a research and development chef for a big restaurant company. And we had to decide where we wanted to start our life. She wanted Kansas City, and I wanted Spain, and I won. One of the few
So
battles I've won.
funny. She wanted to be in Kansas City over Spain. What was the reason for that?
She wanted to be a little American housewife, and I told her that her job was too valuable here. So she's still working.
Are you happy that you chose there?
I'm happy. I don't know what she would say, but yeah. Yes, we're definitely happy here. It's a really good fit to our lifestyle.
How long did it take to learn the language?
Oh, I thought I spoke Spanish when I arrived, and that was surely proven wrong. And I can speak Spanish, and I do speak Spanish, but there's always so much to work on, and it's complex learning the second language when you're over 30. So I'm proud of my son. He speaks 3 languages.
Yeah. So, moving on to after you had this hotel job as a cook at this restaurant, and then you chose
Yeah.
to open your business now called Liberty Kitchen. It is a
Yes.
restaurant. Um, was it tough getting into the like because you're used to being a cook? Was it difficult getting into the area where you have now, instead of food to manage, you have a whole restaurant to manage? You have the finances, the amount of food that you have, and the preparation. Was this a big something big that hit you, or was it something you could get accustomed to easily?
Yeah, good question. I really didn't have much experience in front of the house, but I spent my whole life studying restaurants and how they operate. But you never know that's going to how it turn out when you start your own project. But um, I actually had it pretty easy because we have always had a lot of guests come to eat at our restaurant. So the problems that I faced were more like how much can I do and who should I hire to help me. And when we opened, we only opened with myself as a cook, chef, and one waiter, and then now we are six or seven working there.
Mm-hmm.
So my skills, I was able to cover a lot, and then I learned a lot. I learned every year. I learned how to manage the guests better and the hours and the workload and the systems. Still learning. You never stop learning or improving.
How has the
But it came
restaurant
along. It came pretty easy.
how has it changed in the past few years, the restaurant business? Or has it same? Do you think tourism in Spain or is what's
I'm
affected it?
sorry, you're cutting out. You're cutting that in and out a little bit, so I hear every other word.
Oh, I'm sorry. So what has changed in the industry to in the past few years? Like has the restaurant business really increased in your area of Spain? Is tourism driving it, or do you feel like it's slowing down?
Okay, good question. Well, in the past few years, we passed through the COVID times, which besides, I don't know how it was all in USA, but they closed me for 3 months when it first came out, and then the next year in the spring they closed me for 2 more months, and then let me open 1 month lunch only. So there was quite a bit of financial loss in that time because as the owner, I got very little government assistance, and what I did get in my next year in the taxes, they took it back from me. So, uh, but how has the business changed? Well, I mean, we were
Sorry, that's the bell.
Yeah.
yeah, that's okay. We were very busy in the COVID times, and then things were going well, and then, since the Russian full-scale invasion of Ukraine, which seemed to have triggered a lot of cost increases, combined with the after effects of COVID in the transportation industry with the rising prices and inflation, people have become a lot more careful about how they go out and spend. What does that mean? It means, well, we're a little slower, but not so much. But the people always reserved before, and I always had a full book. And then now it will not be full, but then people just call and come on a whim, like in the moment. Like, so they're not like planning big events and big parties with big groups of friends. It's more like couples or small groups or work groups or families. People are being more selective about how and when and where they spend their money.
Mm-hmm.
So your
That makes
food
any
must be
sense.
good if they're still coming. So that's awesome.
The food is one thing that is not negotiable. That it's always good. Maybe the owner can be impatient or not sometimes, but yeah, the food no one ever complains about.
Yeah. An eye on one part can account for that.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Anything else?
that's all. Thank you
You know
so
what?
much.
I do have one question. I know Casimir needs to grab his ride, but I wanted to just, if you
Mm.
could, as succinctly as you could, based on the bell, just like how has it affected your lifestyle? Like, what does the restaurant business do for you as a husband, as a father, as a friend, or have you been able to
Well,
balance it well?
it's a killer. I mean, thank God I have a wonderful wife and an understanding son because you know restaurant business take your life because it never stopped and you're always involved in it. Fortunately, I made the decision to open my restaurant only Monday through Friday. So even though I was very tired, I had Saturday and Sunday
That
with
wow, that's
the family.
unusual. That's to have the
Yeah,
weekend off.
yeah. And then I'm the only restaurant in Alicante that closed on Saturdays. So it actually when I did that after my first year, for my first year I was open Tuesday to Saturday, and I just couldn't stand the Saturday people because they were all uh, slow and they had nowhere to go, and I like more movement and action. And then by doing that, people thought I was all crazy, but people were talking about me because I was the restaurant, the crazy American that's closing on Saturdays. And then if you wanted to go there to eat, to try the food, you had to call and make a reservation midweek. So this kind of buzz is like a buzz that I didn't plan, but it had a really good effect on the business.
Yeah, that's actually smart marketing. It's like
Mm.
guerrilla marketing in a reverse way.
Guerrilla marketing, correctly. That's exactly what it is. I didn't really intend it, and then now I do a lot of that guerrilla marketing, but I play my little games to get people interested,
Yeah.
keep them guessing.
All right.
But yeah,
Well,
it takes a toll on the family life, that's for sure. I've definitely been short fused, impatient, tired, and when things are wrong with the business, then it spill over into the family life. And it's only by the grace of God that I have found these two people in my life that are willing to put up with it.
all right. Well,
I'm more calm now. All
all right. Nice. Well, thank you, Mike.
right, I may gotta go.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you so much.
All right, I'll
All right.
talk to you later, Cass.
Bye bye.
Bye.